Our best look at China's new Y-15 turboprop airlifter plane. The 4-engine turboprop is expected to form a key new piece of China's modernizing military transport fleet. This is from the Warzone website, so all credit to them. Again, you're watching Everything Weapons. Subscribe if you're new, drop a thumbs up, and let's get right into this fresh military news. So the Chinese new medium-sized tactical airlifter is emerging from the shadows as much clearer imagery becomes available. Previously widely referred to as the Y-30, the 4 turboprop transport now appears to be designated the Y-15, a change reflected by the prototype's apparent 1501 serial number and increasingly supported by open source reporting. New images provided a much better appreciation and view of the aircraft's configuration and design. Developed Shaanxi Aircraft Corporation, the Y-15 is intended to provide a modern replacement for older Y-8 series transports and eventually the Y-9, while giving China a more capable turboprop airlifter suited to operations from relatively austere airfields. While the Y-9 is a modernized Y-8, the older design is a direct copy of the Soviet Antonov AN-12, first flown in 1957. But this new Chinese aircraft plane first became publicly associated with the Y-30 designation after a model appeared at the 2014 air show. That designation subsequently became widely used in reporting about the program. The program then went quiet before unofficial reports back in 2023 that work had resumed. The first flight test imagery of the prototype appeared in December last year in 2025, and the Y-15 has 4 turboprop engines driving 6-blade high-efficiency propellers. Its overall configuration is notably different from China's larger, bigger, jet-powered Y-20, and instead puts it in the same broad operational category as aircraft such as the Lockheed Martin C-130J. The configuration also has some obvious visual similarities to the Airbus A400M. The Chinese aircraft has a relatively broad fuselage, a rear loading ramp, heavy-duty landing gear, a high-mounted wing, and a T-tail. Unlike the swept wing of the A400M, the Chinese transport has a comparatively straight high-lift wing with substantial winglets lacking on the European design at the tips. The arrangement should help the aircraft combine useful cruise efficiency with the low-speed performance needed for tactical transport operations. Despite its A400M-like appearance, the Y-15 appears to be a smaller aircraft in a different weight and performance class. The A400M's 4 TP400D6 engines each produce around 11,000 horsepower, while the Chinese aircraft's WJ-10 turboprops are understood to produce substantially less, around 6,800 horsepower. That suggests that the Chinese Y-15 is a more natural counterpart to the C-130J and China's own Y-9 than the A400M. Unconfirmed estimates have suggested a payload of around 30 metric tons, although that figure should be treated cautiously while the aircraft remains in testing. For comparison, the Y-9 is generally credited with a payload of roughly 25 tons, while the C-130J-30 is in the roughly 21-ton range. At the same time, the Y-15 is assessed to have a larger internal cargo space than the Y-9, with a greater height and width to accommodate bulkier payloads. One of the most obvious features of the flight test aircraft is the long air data boom projecting from the nose. Such booms are standard equipment on developmental aircraft, allowing engineers to collect precise measurements of air pressure, temperature, airflow, and other parameters during testing. Previous reports have identified this feature as an in-flight refueling probe. There is currently no refueling probe fitted to the prototype. That does not necessarily mean the capability will never be incorporated, however, especially as China continues to build its aerial tanker fleet. So Chinese Y-8 and 9 derivatives have demonstrated how common a transport airframe can become the basis for substantially different configurations and designs, including aircraft equipped for specialized missions. The same is likely for the Y-15. Once it enters People's Liberation Army Air Force service, for the PLAF, the aircraft's rear loading ramp and heavy-duty landing gear will likely be particularly important. The aircraft appears designed not simply to move cargo between air bases that are large, but to operate closer to the battlefield and from runways that may be shorter, rougher, and otherwise less developed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated, helps me out a lot in the YouTube algorithm. Type us a comment down below of what you thought about this episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Most viewers never hit the sub button, so just check real quick. And don't be a weirdo. Also, ring the bell if you don't want to miss any videos we post in the future. And as always, you're watching Everything Weapons. Check out the older content on the channel, guys. Lots of videos to binge watch. I'm also on all platforms, every social media. Links are down below in the description box. Follow us on Rumble, X, TikTok, Snapchat. We're on everywhere, so see you guys there. See you in the next video. Take care.